I want to welcome Jared Werner to the greatest sports show on earth. Jared is the new Sports Information Director for Western State College. Jared, thanks for joining us.
Well, thanks for having me.
Jared, you probably got a full plate right now, don't you?
Yeah, football, just the football and volleyball report this week, cross-country reports on Sunday, so we're starting to get into the swing of things. So.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about your job. What does it entail at this point?
Right now, it's a lot of preseason work. I'm wrapping up football media guide, starting a volleyball media guide, meeting with each of the teams just to kind of get background information and just get mug shots, and then trying to keep the website updated. Right now, we're kind of in that time of the year where we're at preseason, so there's not a lot to put up there. So I'm trying to keep as much fresh information out there for the fans who want to enjoy it. So,
as the season progresses, you probably spend a lot of time during the week going from sport to sport and coach to coach and trying to develop all that information.
Yeah, a lot of our events are pretty much just focused on the weekend, so I have about my Monday through Thursdays to kind of talk with for fall sports, each of the three coaches that are in season, trying to get any updates that are going on, try to generate original content, getting ready for the upcoming week, especially if it's a home event, getting ready for programs and all that good stuff, halftime scripts and all that.
Jared, are you the person that has to look through the records and check and see if something is a new record or kind of keep track of all that stuff?
Yep, that's me. I maintain all the records and all the stats for all the teams. And so a lot of my job, especially on game days, if there's a game record that's came close to set or was set, I have to make sure I'm alerting our radio crews that are broadcasting live so that they know. And then also our newspaper folks that are there that they know. Just getting that information out there so that they can brag about our kids a little bit.
Let's talk a little bit about football. You've got a scrimmage coming up on the 22nd, the lawn chair scrimmage. I like that.
That's right. Yep.
Now that's going to be 9:30 on the 22nd.
I mean, at 9:30 a.m. we've got cross country now. Started about 9 o'clock that morning. They've got their time trials, and then volleyball will have their alumni match at 5 p.m. And then in between that, we're going to have a free barbecue right after the lawn chair scrimmage after football. So that should be a fun day next Saturday.
Free food always gets a crowd.
That's right.
Whose idea is that?
I supposedly they've done it every year. This is my first year, so I heard free barbecue. I'm like, well, I'll get people there no matter what. So.
Probably perked your ears up, too. Perked mine up.
Yeah.
So Fort Hays State, that's going to be the first game on the 29th. You get it at home.
Yes. Our first home game since 2005 that we open at home, so.
Jared, what's the forecast this year for the football team?
They're going to be good. They're returning a lot of their offensive line, a pretty good chunk of defense. They got good competition for a new quarterback after Cameron Merrill left last year, and they got good competition at running back. So, there are a couple holes to fill, but I think there's a good chunk of experienced players coming back, and as the coaches keep saying, this is probably the first freshman class that they're going to have to depend on to play a lot. They can get them into the system, get them a little experience, so that next year they're ready to contribute a lot more.
Boy, that's been a real struggle over the last 4 years is to find that class, hasn't it?
Yes.
So, again, we were talking about Coach Pat Stewart. What year is he in now?
He's starting his fourth year.
Okay, so that's about right, isn't it?
Yeah. This is where everyone comes in, they're teed off, so all we got to do is just make a long drive. So.
Anybody standing out so far that you know of?
Not that I know of. We're having a scrimmage right now up at the bowl, and they're looking good up there. I went to practice on the first full day of practices on Monday. No one that I know of that's been really standing out. Everyone's kind of starting at square one and seeing who just rises to the top from there.
Let's move on to cross country. Here's a sport that has a deep tradition at Western State College.
Oh, definitely.
Most definitely, and of course, one of the things that's news that former coach Vandenbush to enter the Coaches Hall of Fame.
Yes, that was a big deal for us. He won 12 national cross country titles while I was here, and who knows how many conference between cross country and track. So I think he retired from track in 2007. He's entering the Coaches Hall of Fame in 2009. So that's a pretty good turnaround for Coach Vandenbush.
Well, Coach, is it pronounced Mitchell?
Michael.
Michael? Jennifer Michael. Yep. In her second year, I would imagine that she's got to be a little more relaxed coming into this second year.
Yeah, she's they're returning really good bunch of kids from last year. Of their top 10 players, top 10 runners between men and women, they're returning 9 of them that placed at the national cross-country meet last year. So they're expecting to really vie for that national championship this year on both the men's and women's side.
Boy, it's one of those sports that doesn't get a lot of ink outside of your realm, but it truly has been a successful program.
Oh, yes, and you know, the history behind it, so it's, you know, going forward, it's a lot easier when you have the history behind you. So.
Well, and then you've got, let's move on to volleyball, another new head coach.
Yes, Kate Moskowitz is in her first year. She was at Adams State for 3 years, and she led them to the RMAC West Division title, and so far that's their only RMAC West Division title was in her 3 years there. So she's starting her first year. She's got an assistant coach, Melissa Bravo, who will be coming in. And then Kate's, of course, the wife of Mike Moskowitz, who had a very good men's basketball season last year too.
One of the girls listed on the roster for volleyball is Brianna Verbal from Montrose.
Right. Yep. I think Kate Moskowitz is expecting good things from her this year. So, well, even though she's a redshirt this year, but she'll be getting into that system and be ready to contribute in the next couple of years.
How important is that red shirt system? What does that do for a young lady?
Well, especially in those, it gets them into the system. It gets them kind of acclimated to the college game. A lot of times at college, it's just faster, harder. It gets them used to the system that Coach Moskowitz will have, and that way, when they're ready to contribute as a freshman next year, they already have that experience next year and can really show their potential that they showed at the high school level.
What goes into determining whether you want to put somebody on that redshirt program?
Well, a lot of times, especially on the football side, a lot of schools will just, any incoming freshman will redshirt. And a lot of what that does, it gets them to the system and gets them an extra year of, on the scout team, looking at the plays, learning the offense, learning the defenses. And especially on volleyball, just, a lot of times if you're deep in that position, like an outside hitter or something, you can kind of afford to put someone on a red shirt, give them one more year to mature, one more year to learn the system, and one more year to learn the plays and that kind of stuff. And so if you're a lot of depth, you can afford to use some of those red shirts.
Yeah, and I guess where you're at in the program will determine whether you can put somebody on that or not.
Exactly.
Well, you've got a great facility up there, and you guys do a wonderful job. Jared, are you excited I can't really say to start this new job because you've already been in it, but I would imagine that you're ready to kick this thing off.
Oh, I am. I've been here for 6 weeks now, and it's exciting when now the kids are reporting and we can actually start getting into the season a little bit. So,
Jared, we've talked to you once before, but let's talk just for a moment about your background.
Right. I was at Northwest Missouri State. I worked there for 4 years as a student assistant and as a graduate assistant. I got a couple degrees there, and we only had a full-time head SID at Northwest, and then we had a graduate assistant, and then they had me for a couple years as just a student assistant, and so we kind of almost had a 3-person shop, which at Division II is very unusual. And so we were able to do a lot of things online with our media guides, with our football team, who has a great history there. Really do a lot of things that kind of set it up to showcase our student athletes a lot in that kind of setting. In the MIAA, it's such a competitive conference. Everyone's kind of going at each other type thing, but it's a good competition among sports information offices, and so it's always nice to, now it's my first job, I can kind of apply some of those things that I learned there, learn some things that this conference does that maybe are better than what the MIAA did, and get started a little bit.
Are you a one-man show here?
I'm a one-man show. I've got a couple work study students that I read, depending on a lot. I'm hoping to meet them sometime next week. I've met a couple of them already, but it's me and then a couple work study students, and that's it.
So let me ask you this. As you look ahead in your career, what would be your dream job?
Oh, I love Division II. People ask me that kind of question, and I think they always kind of imply, are you looking at Division I or something like that? And I never do. I like the challenges that Division II level has. you're always trying to do new things. You're always trying to improve upon yourself. You're always trying to be those Division I programs. And so, no, I love Division II level. As long as they like to keep me here, I stay here. So
I would imagine that you get to get your hand in more things where you're at as opposed to Division I.
Right, and especially at the Division I level, if you're in the SID office, you may just worry about football and say, tennis, and those are the only two sports you focus on all year, whereas in this position, I get to worry about all 11 sports. And so I get to interact with a lot of coaches, much more of a team atmosphere.
So when we come up there to Gunnison and we see the guy running around with his hair on fire, that's probably you, right?
Well, I hope I have hair by then. I might be pulling it all out by then.
Okay. Well, Jared, we appreciate yakking at you. We'll be talking to you, if you don't mind, every week on the greatest sports show on earth.
Well, I appreciate it, Jim.